Hello everybody, this is Money Mom. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our history series. Today we're going to talk about the 1990s. Let's get started. Many of you guys know this. The 1990s was a big year of economic expansion. Obviously it was the dot-com time, and I remember, and I don't know if any of you do, I remember when I first got internet in the 1990s, we had dial-up and it was slower than molasses in January. I don't know about you guys, but boy was it nice to get high-speed internet after that. That being said, a lot of things happened. It started off slow at the beginning, but because of all the technical advances and so many websites being built, people were really making a lot of money, but people were also spending a lot of money. A lot was happening in the decade. Also, people were saving money too and investing in the market. And so that was driving prices up. And we know what happens when prices drive up. It's, you know, what comes up must come down. And that's kind of where, towards the end of 2000, next week we'll talk about the Y2K and all of that. But basically, the 90s was a time for real growth. And I remember a lot of things about the 90s. Also, the interest rates were really low. And I thought, and I remember, and I'm talking about some things from my own personal experience here, living in the DF or Dallas, Texas area, you know, prices were pretty good. I remember I really got into couponing in the late 1990s, and I got a lot of great deals. There were double and triple coupons. Also, I remember getting great deals on a lot of things. Some things were very good prices, and you know, just the prices were still fair. Even housing in the Dallas area was fair. I remember this, and I do want to share this. And some of this is about the economy, but some of these are things I remember about my life. Okay, I got married in 1994. I was 29. And then we lived in a couple different apartments. We lived in a one-bedroom, then we lived in a two-bedroom. Then we rented this house we're in for a year, and then we purchased it. We purchased this house in 1997. The house is in our neighborhood in 1997, and this is like a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, about 1,400 square foot. And they were built in 62. Okay, so it gives you some reference. We don't have a basement. You guys probably know that. That being said, we spent $65,000 for this house. The other houses were going for about $75,000. They gave us a deal. Then within a year it was $75,000. But there for quite a long time, late 90s, early 2000s, you could buy a house in our neighborhood for under $100,000. So I remember being able to buy a lot of items, whether it was clothing, food, home, you know, electronics, for affordable prices. That's what I remember from my own personal experiences. And even vehicles were decent prices. So, and the interest rates were pretty low. The interest rate back then, though, of this house, I think was 7.3, if I remember correctly. And then we refinanced to 5.2 or something like that. So anyway, so that's kind of what happened. But there were so many websites being built, and there are people that were spending a lot of money on these things. And because of that, you know, when you spend all this money, and then, you know, it's supply and demand, and let's say you own a business and you're spending a lot of money investing in this dot-com business, and, you know, at first it's kind of booming and going well, and then maybe all of a sudden you're not getting the sales, and you're not able to meet demands, and you're not able to pay your bills, then, you know, a lot of businesses end up crashing. Well, many people that were, you know, investing in the market in the 90s, what they were doing is investing in a lot of these new companies because there were tons of them. And then some of these companies started failing. So a lot happened in the 90s. I'm probably only tipping the iceberg on some of the things. And you guys know, I'm not an economic expert. Some of these things I remember from myself. I remember really enjoying using the internet in the 90s. I remember a couple different sites that I used to order groceries off. I thought it was in the late 90s, early 2000s. One was Home Grocer, and I think one was GroceryNet.com, if I remember correctly. And, you know, they were starting to get these websites up and going. But some websites were really successful, and some companies, and some weren't. So like I said, you know, some things went really, really well. I thought the 90s was fun in many ways. I have to say, business-wise for me, you know, when I started doing scheduling or project managing, the late 90s to early 2000s, you know, in different periods of my life, I was doing quite well, and there was a lot of, work to be had for me. So there were some good times there at that time. So that's kind of what I want to say about the 90s. What do you remember about the 90s you want to share? I know I can learn a lot from you. Next week, we're going to be talking about from 2000 to 2019. And that's the end of the series, and then I'm going to share with you our new series. So that's all for now. Before signing off, tomorrow come back, and I'm going to do an updated video about all my sources of income, because my sources of income have kind of changed since the last time I talked to you guys about it, and I want to share with you what I do with those sources of income. That's all for now. I love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video. Bye-bye.